What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is December 5th of 2017. Well, folks, it's time for a daily update here on the DataDash channel, where we recap on everything in relation to price action, news, and topics in cryptocurrencies. And today, we've got a lot to recap on. First and foremost, as always, we're going to take a look at cryptocurrency market valuations, going through the big even of $350 billion. It seems like the bull run has no end in sight. So we'll be taking a look over that, asking some questions, and talking a little bit about that, as well as taking a look at some technical price action and the market leaders. And along with that, we have some interesting articles to go through. First and foremost, crypto kittens clogging up the Ethereum network. Could this be one of the many examples of mainstream adoption of blockchain? We'll be taking a look into that later, as well as segwit being enabled on Coinbase, resulting in lower fees. Along with this as well, Japan opening up more exchanges as regulations are starting to get pulled back. And last but not least, Venezuela coming in with their optimal solution to fix hyperinflation and growing political tensions inside Venezuela. Okay, lots to talk about in the update, so let's go ahead and dive into it. First and foremost, cryptocurrency market valuation has continued to go up over the past few days as Bitcoin approaches the valuation of $200 billion. As we can see, a lot of the market leaders here are not small cryptocurrencies. Some of them are actually well formed and are quite recognizable. A lot of people have been talking about Monacoin, Veritasium going up, but along with this as well, if we go down, we have projects like IOTA and Substratum really killing it over the past few days, and even market leaders as well like Stellar Lumens. So we're starting to see not only a lot of great projects and coins starting to gain massive momentum and valuation over these past few days, but we're also seeing really large established projects like IOTA and Stellar Lumens, and Lisk and ARK, all of these very large ones, as well as Monero. I almost missed that one. You have a lot of market movers who are well formed already and hold a lot of valuation, getting double-digit gains consecutively day by day. So this is pretty incredible stuff. I don't know if it can sustain itself. I don't know if we're going to be seeing a correction anytime soon, but we'll be talking about a few more of those, especially IOTA, later on in the video, as it is taken fourth in the rankings for our top 5 coverage on the coins that we do technical analysis on. So going over to market capitalization, the question is, can markets sustain this kind of run up? Well, interestingly enough, really over the past 2 or 3 days, we've really kind of been going on to a slowdown. I know it sounds crazy to only be going from 323 billion to 356 billion. Gosh, we're moving so slow. Just kidding. But definitely a slower pace than what we were seeing back a few weeks ago, back in the end of November. However, we haven't really stopped. We haven't seen any major downturn outside of the small short-term correction we had when Bitcoin had a very kind of almost instant flash crash for a small moment. However, nothing's really going to the sell side yet. Volume has cooled down. We definitely have seen less institutional money come in, and we're waiting to see probably a correction, maybe not even the big 50% one, before we start getting that big institutional buying coming back in. But we know very well that a lot of this rally has also been fueled by altcoins as well, outside of Bitcoin. And that's really what's been taking the cake over the past few days. A lot of coins, as we stated, have been coming out and really taking the spotlight. A lot of the leaders at the top as well, Cardano coming out of nowhere, Monero continuing to hold steadily, as well as Dash, and then IOTA coming all the way up to 4th place within a matter of a few days. So some very fast movements in the market. So let's go ahead and jump into some technical price action. First and foremost, Bitcoin, really not much we can do here. The only thing I could tell you all to really look out for or watch is 12,000. That's a big even. Any of the thousands are very big even marks. However, we have seen it clear through not only 10,000, which, as I stated before, I thought we'd see a tad bit of resistance at. But we've cleared through 11,000 as well. So we'll see if any of these big even marks start to show some steady resistance. I know the sell wall is pretty dramatic at 12,000 on most exchanges, but it could clear through. Who knows? We do have some volume coming into the buy side still as people get more and more excited about the cryptocurrency revolution. Next up, Ethereum, BTC. Ethereum, I hate to say it, I know we have a lot of ETH heads out there who love Ethereum and are huge Vitalik fans. I'm not negative on Ethereum in the per se long term, but in the short term I am, because it's not only not keeping up with Bitcoin like a lot of other altcoins are, But this one is collapsing to the big even of 40 million. And that was acting as a pretty high level of support for Ethereum for quite some time, all the way back through November. So if we get another red day especially, I'm keeping my eyes off Ethereum for a while. Just doesn't seem like it's keeping up with Bitcoin in that regard. But USD, I mean, it might be fine. Again, we're trying to beat out Bitcoin here. So next up, we're going to be taking a look here at Bcash. Go ahead here. Bitcoin Cash again as well, and not doing anything that's really exciting. No serious technical price action. If you wanted to try and swing this, I will say it is cheaper than it was a few weeks ago. But as you all know, my personal opinion, I don't have any serious long-term ramifications for Bitcoin Cash. The only thing I could see as acting as support is maybe 10 million satoshis. That's big even for Bitcoin Cash to find support on. And it's near where previous support was in the past. But you definitely, I think we need either a correction back down to these lows or back down to 10 million satoshis. Just my personal opinion. I can't do too much TA on this because there's really not much to go off of. The 50-day, if anything, is something you should look out for because all the other moving averages, I think 100-day just came in as well. These are hovering around midway, kind of what we saw over here. When Bitcoin Cash had a pullback. So maybe you can check for those indicators, see if it finds support there. But really, there's not too much crazy drawings I can do in the chart to really find anything. But I'm going to spend some time talking about this one. IOTA has been crushing it. Absolutely phenomenal price action. You know, if you take a look back, we're on the Bitcoin chart here. If you take a look back to early November, on November 5th, and look at the USD comparison, IOTA has had a 10 times multiple of its original value, going from around 30 cents per IOTA to now over almost $3. I think actually it has been over $3 for quite some time today. So IOTA has been killing it. Now, to be fair with you all, I did make a calling on IOTA doing well in December, but I'm not going to sit here and say that I even saw this coming this quick. I mean, we are in the early stages of December. A lot of this price action, you know, from the bottom here, or where we called it in mid-November, has come through November as well. And I never would have thought that IOTA would have seen this bounce. But this is, I think, coming in regards to a lot of the partnership announcements they've made with Microsoft. I know that, for example, they just recently launched the IOTA Data Marketplace. I might be missing the name, the proper name for it, but it's basically going to be a place where you can sell data from Internet of Things, pretty much IoT, which is collecting all kinds of information and utilizing that for a variety of different purposes. I think it's going to be very interesting if IOTA does this because it's going to be a very early stage a proof of concept that IOTA and the Tangle technology comparative to blockchain could be a viable solution for scalability as well as decentralization. So I like it. It's interesting to see that it's getting so much love. Now, if you were to ask me, Nick, should I buy it? I didn't buy into an IOTA. Should I get in? Look, if you're going long term, I mean, that's really dependable to you. How long do you see IOTA doing well? And really, any of these levels, if you see it doing great over the next 10 years, I don't think you have to worry at these levels either way. But if you're trying to trade it, you just got to apply the simple principle. We don't buy high, we sell low. And that's why we were talking about it back when it was not getting as much publicity. You don't want to buy something when it's flooded in the headlines. Sorry to IOTA holders. I'm not trying to, knock down your IOTA. I'm optimistic on the project, and I've really gotten fascinated with Tangle as I've learned more and more about it. And I want to learn more about IOTA as well. But again, it's still very early on. They are messing with a few different companies. I know Accenture was messing with their data marketplace, and then there was, I think, Orange as well, a few other companies that are working with them. So exciting stuff for IOTA. And last but not least, we'll go ahead and take a look here at Ripple BTC. And just because this is going to be short and kind of depressing, I'm losing a lot of faith in Ripple. Ripple has not been keeping up with the market here. So I will go ahead and cover a sixth coin. I have nothing to say about Ripple here. It's good to see that if the one coin that helps bankers is not doing well. I like that. We'll go ahead here and take a look at Dash BTC as well. Dash continuing to do what I think it's going to do in the sense of pulling back down here to the support line and hopefully curving back up as we've seen in the past 2 times ever since this run up, over here and over here as well. And it would be lovely if the 50-day could come up and curve there. That would be fantastic. All right, so that's it for TA on the charts. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at some headlines here. The lovable digital kittens are clogging Ethereum. This is the crypto kittens craze that everyone has been talking about. And I like to kind of align it with, I'll try to present the analogy properly. It's almost kind of like the Beanie Babies of the dot-com bubble mixed with Pokemon Go in a sense. There's this crazy kind of technical collectible craze that's happening on the Ethereum blockchain where these individuals created a application on top of the Ethereum network, or it's powered by Ethereum in the sense of storing data and information. And you're able to, hold and breed these different little kittens and stuff. And people are paying massive amounts of Ethereum for them. Not to mention, they're clogging up the network. And they actually had to go about increasing the birthing fee of new kittens to from 0.001 Ethereum to practically double of its original fee, just to keep the network from getting clogged up. So I think this is an interesting phenomenon because it's something that I think it's showing that these are the kind of projects that are going to get people interested in a sense with blockchain. And along with that as well, I think it tests the Ethereum network. It shows that we have a long way to go in the sense of transactions and making sure that networks on the blockchain can run smoothly. Ethereum is definitely a step up from Bitcoin and other predecessors, but if it can't, run something like CryptoKitties, or that's getting in the way of Ethereum running effectively, that's going to lead us to ask some serious questions. But nonetheless, not being negative on Ethereum, it's an interesting, fascination, and they've been doing millions of dollars in transactions with these crypto kittens. Doesn't make much sense to me. I'm not someone who can go out and spend money like this or risk money, but I mean, I gotta say, they do look adorable. This is it's weird. It's interesting. It's kind of like Beanie Babies or anything like that. We find value in these things. It's a digital kitten. But they're all unique, supposedly. That's the big selling point, is that they're these unique kittens, and you can breed new kittens. So, crazy stuff. And you can go online, find the marketplace, and maybe you'll find the right digital kitten for you. Who knows? All right, so next up, Coinbase revealing segwit integration. So this is good news for those who are optimistic on segwit being implemented on the Bitcoin network, as well as having lower transaction fees. As more and more of the community is trying to adopt segwit, they're currently working right now to get senior backend engineers in San Francisco, New York, and London to work out setting the Bitcoin infrastructure for segwit to be implemented on Coinbase. And this will be great for those who are optimistic on segwit and who want lower fees, because putting this not only on Coinbase will leave users with lower reduction in fees, but it will increase the amount of transactions that are segwit enabled. So that's going to be interesting. Right now, I think it was just sitting around 14%. That's the last number I remembered seeing. But to see Coinbase talking about taking that on, as well as other different popular platforms in the crypto space, you're going to start seeing segwit adoption up and up and up as it continues to be adopted. But again, it just takes time. Any kind of update like this usually requires the proper infrastructure, and Coinbase is going through that right now. So good news on that end. Next up, Japanese financial regulators legalize 4 new cryptocurrency exchanges. So Japan continues to prove in being the safe haven for crypto investors in the eastern part of the world. But both Japan as well as South Korea have taken on en masse the large amount of volume that was originally found in China. China used to dictate around 85 to 90% of daily transaction volume inside cryptocurrencies. And now Japan and South Korea, as China has seen more excessive regulation, not only on cryptocurrencies, but specifically ICOs, are now serving as those safe havens. And we now have in total, as of December 3rd, 15 licensed cryptocurrency exchanges in Japan. So this is good news, I think, personally, because I knew the eastern part of the world wasn't going to give up on Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. But it's nice to see that regulation is almost a slap in the face to China. It's showing them, look, you're not going to stop this. People will find another place to either invest their money or participate in this, or they'll do it over the counter with things like local Bitcoins, and they'll find ways around it. People will always find a way around things. And really, like we've said in the past, once Bitcoin was created, it opened Pandora's box. It just takes a while for these things to come into fruition, and we're seeing it. We're seeing it on a mainstream sense, and I think it's awesome to see Japan taking the opportunity in their hands. And again, we had talked about this a while back, with China setting regulation. You can't stop it. You're going to have other Eastern nation states who are like, we'll take it. Japan has actually been a big proponent of Bitcoin over the past few years. And you've, of course, had Roger Ver there as well, going out and helping to market it out in Japan for quite some time. And last but not least, we're going to be talking a little bit about Venezuela's president announcing the petro, oil-backed cryptocurrency. So for a brief summary on this, as you all are most likely aware of if you've been reading the headlines, you keep up with global news, Venezuela has been going through a crisis. People have been blaming it on a variety of reasons. They've been saying that low oil prices have killed Venezuela or their economy. And I definitely wouldn't say that it's benefited them, but quite frankly, it doesn't have to do with a commodity crisis that's killing Venezuela. It's more of a currency crisis. It's their dollar, the hyperinflation that Venezuela is going through right now, which has really shot up the issues that Venezuela is going through right now. So as we go through and read through here, their whole, prominent solution, as he said in his speech, is Venezuela stepping into the 21st century. This will be Venezuela's approach towards blockchain and building a cryptocurrency. Now, this isn't going to be like traditional cryptocurrencies. As of now, it sounds like the government is going to be running it. I'm curious to see if it's going to be the Central Bank of Venezuela, who's going to be operating it. However, this is not going to be a decentralized cryptocurrency. This is going to be a centralized cryptocurrency with supervision and overwatch. And under that cryptocurrency, the whole supposed value with it is supposedly it's a deflationary currency, hopefully, from what I've been reading. And behind it is backed different resources. This could include oil, gold, diamonds, and all kinds of different actual commodities that hold sustainable, tangible value. So that's what Venezuela is trying to do. It's trying to almost build a digital, maybe almost in a sense, a digital gold standard for their currency. So it's currency that there's something back behind it. I don't know if, of course, you can interchange it and stuff, so I wouldn't call it the gold standard, but nonetheless, this is a good step, I think, in the right direction for Venezuela. And you can see a lot of big firms are starting to pick up on this. NPR is covering it. Max Kaiser came out as well, who was saying that, this might be a valiant step towards helping to fight hyperinflation, and he hopes to support the initiative as well as others, even if it's not exactly there yet. It's still early stage. I think personally, you have to make sure that it's not only deflationary, but you have to make it decentralized, because you can't toss something. You can't just say, okay, no, we're just going to make our currency a cryptocurrency. That'll fix our issues. The issue itself isn't the fact that it's paper money or it's digital. It's the fact that you're hyperinflating it. And this is due to the factor of the Banco Central de Venezuela. This is the Central Bank of Venezuela. Practically every nation state in the world has a central bank. And what Venezuela is going through right now is a very high case of hyperinflation. It's not sustainable. It's going to leave in a lot of wreckage. I mean, this is just the chart in 2016. If you count into what hasn't been fully released on a lot of sources in regards to 2017, Venezuela's inflation rate has gone multitudes over what is even seen on this chart. And it's not healthy for the economy. It is what it is, hyperinflation. It's one of the most destructive things you can do to your economy, because at the end of the day, if you don't have a stable currency, you can't have stable transactions. You can't have stable prices. The cost of living gets ridiculous. And I think Mike Maloney, one of the guys, he's a big gold bug, but he makes a good point. He understands economic cycles. And when it gets to the point where I think it's more of half of your income simply feeds your family, the risk of revolution it gets pretty serious. So you can understand why people in Venezuela are not only up in arms and upset, but also why the Venezuelan president is trying to build a cryptocurrency out of all things. So I think it could be good, but the question is it going to be decentralized? Because we do not need a centralized authority over us using it. And you could easily, as the government, encourage people to use it. Just don't make it centralized. And if you want to back it up by commodities, I mean that almost seems like you have to have a centralized sense to it, because you're saying, yes, we will back up our commodities behind this currency. I don't know. It seems very early on. It seems kind of buzzword-like, and it seems like it's buying him time in the sense that Venezuela is quite off the chain in the sense of stability and finding a means of transaction. So who knows? Might be a benefit for them. Much better than what they probably have right now. All right. Anyways, everyone, that's it for the video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you all have any comments, questions, or concerns in regard to anything we didn't talk about in the video, please leave a comment down below, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible, or have others in the community talk amongst one another about these different topics. And I'd like to hear what you all think about all these things. What do you think about the crypto kittens? What do you think about Coinbase implementing segwit, Japan, as well as Venezuela's petrodollar? Do you think it's a sustainable solution? I'd like to hear from you down in the comments down below. Anyways, everyone, that's it for the video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Stay tuned.